Hello guys, this is Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com and we're here today live. And are you guys ready to rumble? I'm just joking, we're not going to rumble. Maybe one day we really should rumble. What would be something suitable? Like what if we all just turned our trash can over or something like that? Okay, let's see who we have in the chat this morning. I've got Joey and Cristiano. We've got Kevin, welcome. Daniel, welcome. Mohammed, good to see you. Scott, welcome. Daniel, all right. We have got a nice group of people showing up here. I think right about now the announcement is going from YouTube, so hopefully you guys will be tuning in soon. Opal been ill. I'm so sorry to hear that. Okay. Hope you get better soon. Opal is one of our longest running channel members here, so it's always good to see him. We've got Krishna, Ian, Glenn Miller, hello, Design D, Pekka Kuola. Hey, guys, I want to give you a shout out, and these names are coming from all over the world. So if I don't say your name right, I am sorry, but just know I want to tell you guys hi. Glenn Miller, Prabhu, Marco, Ian, Ahmed. All right, we have got quite a crowd gathering here. Okay, guys, what is this live stream about? This live stream is talking about our new class that is going to be starting this coming Thursday. Now, you know, kind of the habit that we've gotten into is I have been releasing 2 videos per week. One video I release on Tuesday, and that has been the class where we are making Arduino and Python work together. And then Thursday, the class that we've been having has been the AI, or artificial intelligence for everyone. And we kind of wrapped that up last Thursday. And so in its time slot, which for me is Thursday evening at 6 p.m. You'll have to kind of see what that is for you. That time slot is going to be our incredible, our Bodacious Raspberry Pi class. And let me tell you, my goal is to make this the best Raspberry Pi class out there. We're going to have the best hardware, we're going to have the best students, and we're going to have the best teacher, so how could we lose on this thing? So I hope you guys are ready to rumble and ready to learn the Raspberry Pi. Okay, of all the things that I could do a new class on, why are we doing a class on the Raspberry Pi? The reason is, out of all the comments and questions and requests I get, the number one request I get is to have a series on the Raspberry Pi. Okay, that's the number one request that I get from you guys, is a Raspberry Pi series. Now, you know, I did a Raspberry Pi series about 7 or 8 years ago, but that material is getting a little bit old, if you know what I mean, and it needs to be spiffed up and better hardware now. I have a much better studio. I'm much better at producing these videos, and I've got some really cool ideas for what we could do on this. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking. The time is now to do another Raspberry Pi class. You asked for it. I listened. You are getting a Raspberry Pi class. Second reason is I go out and I look at the material, the training material that's available about the Raspberry Pi, and it seems like there is not a good, methodical, systematic set of lessons that teach the Raspberry Pi. There's some guys out there that have done some cool projects, and they show you their project, and maybe they show you their code, and you can go out and copy the code, and you can make the Raspberry Pi do something kind of neat, but you don't really learn anything, and you're not able to then go out and pursue your own projects or pursue your own ideas. And it's kind of like you just go through live copying and pasting other people's code. That's not going to happen in my class. Not on my watch. Okay, not on my watch. All right, third reason I thought we really needed a Raspberry Pi class is that it seemed like most of the stuff out there on the Raspberry Pi is associated like with retro gaming, where you have like arcade style games and you try to get those running on your Pi and maybe build a little bit of an arcade system. or like media streaming where maybe you stream movies or you stream music in your house. So it seemed more like entertainment, media, and games is where most of the stuff was going on the Raspberry Pi. And you know me, what I like is I like circuits, and I like hardware, and I like math, and I like sensors, and I like actuators, and I like all of that sort of stuff. And so what's going to be different about my class is I am going to start from the square one, and then I'm going to teach you step by step how to use and how to program the Raspberry Pi. And then we're really going to be going in, and we are going to be focusing on those GPIO pins. And we've got some really, really exciting things. Okay, another reason is a lot of you guys are kind of enjoying that type of thing on the Arduino, but you do finally reach the point that you outgrow the Arduino. I love the Arduino. I still do projects on the Arduino, but you need something with more computational resources, something that is faster, more memory, more storage, more easy to connect, right? More easy to connect to a network or to the outside world. And all of those things the Raspberry Pi is very, very good at. Okay, wow, Stephen. Really appreciate that, Stephen. We got a super chat from Stephen, so that is really great. And Kevin, man, you guys are really help. Keep that generator running. Yeah, it costs me $5 or $10 an hour in diesel to keep my generator going, and it's like half the time the electricity's out. So really appreciate you guys. The super chats go to diesel for the generator, and diesel, in case you guys have not noticed, has gotten a little more expensive lately. I will need you guys to pour yourself a nice strong cup of coffee, because we have got some great things to talk about today. I actually have not one, I have two. I have two cups of coffee this morning, and I'll show them to you. This is the first one, and this is actually my breakfast. Okay, this is my breakfast. And what I do is I start with about a half a cup of heavy cream. I steam it, and then I pour an espresso in it. And so this is like a rich and creamy, super delicious cappuccino. And this is how I start my day. You know, it's kind of like a keto type of breakfast. I start my day with this, and it is delicious. But then we will be needing supplemental caffeine, so we will have the traditional iced coffee as well. And that is just really, really good. Okay, another big announcement I have. Okay, so the new class starts on Thursday, and a big announcement I have is I will have corporate sponsorship for that class. And we will be sponsored by SunFounder. Now, how did that come about? Okay, because I've gotten hundreds and hundreds of offers for sponsorship for videos or for classes, and I've never taken one. And I've never taken one because most of them are really lame. It's like they're trying to get me to sell you, like a silly this or a silly that or whatever. So I don't sell advertising. But in this case, it seemed to really make sense, because I was getting ready for the Raspberry Pi class. I was looking around for hardware kits, and there's a lot of different kits that were out there, and it seemed to me like the SunFounder kit was the best as far as a lot of components, like a lot of stuff in the box. And you can see it's a magic box that goes invisible. Yeah, you can see through it over here in the black, but it has a whole lot of stuff. It's got high quality components, and it is affordable. And so when I looked at quality, quantity, and affordability, I really thought the SunFounder was the best kit for this class. And then I ended up talking to them, and we ended up that they're going to sponsor these lessons. And what does that mean? I tell you to get the SunFounder kit because that's the kit I'm going to be using. Okay, it kind of makes sense. But like one of the things that I liked about it was there is a whole lot of components in it. Let's see if I can hold it up. There is a whole lot of components in it. And just little things like on those things like the potentiometer and the switches, there's multiples of them, like the little button switch, like on that button switch in the Arduino system, how the pins always get bent. There's 10 of them. There's multiple potentiometers. There's just a whole lot of wires. And then we've got really cool components, like it includes the camera that we're going to need for this class. It includes a speaker, relays, displays, all kinds of stuff. So what we are going to be doing in this series of lessons is we are going to be learning based on the components in the SunFounder Ultimate Raspberry Pi Kit. Link down in the description below. So if you guys are going to take this class, you do in fact need to start getting your hardware put together. If you've already got the components and stuff, great. But if you want to follow along and have all the components that I have, go ahead and get your gear together and order the kit. Now, in addition to the kit, you're going to need to get a Raspberry Pi. The kit does not have the Raspberry Pi itself in it. And unfortunately, right now, it is a little bit of a difficulty to get the Raspberry Pis right now. They're kind of expensive. And so the best deal that I could find had a Raspberry Pi, had the power supply, had the little HDMI cable adapter that you're going to need. And it also had like a fan and some other things like that. And so I think that was the best one that I could find. But man, and I've got the link down in the description, but I'm not trying to push you to use my link on the Raspberry Pi. Look on eBay, look around, see if you've got one that you can borrow or whatever, because I don't want the kind of higher price of the Raspberry Pis right now to be a barrier for you guys taking the class. Okay, what would be great would be if you guys could get a Raspberry Pi 4. Things would work best on the 4. You don't need a 4 with a huge amount of memory. I would get like the cheapest 4 that I could find. But if you don't have a 4, the other ones would work as well. Okay, the other ones would work as well. And so like a 3 would probably work. The one that would not work so well is that one that's in the keyboard. Okay, you could do a lot with that, but like the little ribbon cable for the camera, the little Pi camera isn't going to work very well with that one. And so if that's all you have, let's do the best we can with that. But if you have the opportunity, the 4 is going to be the best one. Okay, now let me tell you again, like, why did I take sponsorship for these lessons? Because it's got a little chunk of money, and that money is going to help me with things like a 3D printer, some gear and equipment for the studio. And so I'm going to benefit because I'm going to be able to get some resources that will allow me to put gear and equipment together for that Fusion 360 3D printer class and upgrade some of the equipment in my studio. That's how I benefit. How are you going to benefit? Well, you're going to benefit because now we've sort of got a little bit of a community where we could, like we could give feedback to SunFounder. Like as we're going through these lessons, we could say, hey man, in future kits, it would be great if we had this component, or this is a great kit, but we're sort of missing this. You see, it allows us to kind of have a mode of hooking up with the supplier and the manufacturers. And I think that's really good when the user base has a communication channel back to the producers. Oh wow, we got another super chat. R, thank you. We'll ring that bell for you. Okay, and so I think you guys will benefit. I'll benefit. And then, of course, the manufacturer SunFounder will benefit because they'll start getting a user community behind their products. You'll be exposed to this product and see that they do good stuff. So I really look at it as not like selling out. I really look at it as it's a win-win-win for all of us. And I hope you guys understand that. I am going to have a big sip of breakfast here. Okay, let me read some comments here. Yeah, Arlo says it looks like a win-win situation. Hope you guys all understand that. Stephen, thank you for using the retirement to continue to teach, man. I have retired so many times and I never retire. I just keep working. And I have to say, I really love what I'm doing now more than anything else. And, the being a part of this community with you guys, I really, really love it. I have really enjoyed being a part of this channel. Okay, let's see. Bill has an 8G Raspberry Pi. Oh man, Bill, you are ready to go. You are going to rock and roll on this class because you have got a fully loaded machine there. Okay, Big Boggy Face, I hope somebody at SunFounder will be participating in these lessons. All right, I don't know. Say hello. I don't know if there's anyone from Sunfounder watching, but maybe if you're out there, just say hello and let people know that you're listening. I don't know what time it is where they are, but yeah, Big Boggy Face was saying, say hello. Have you thought about looking into ESP32? Well, the problem with ESP32, there are many different hardware platforms and there's many different software platforms. And then like there's MicroPython, it's not the same thing. MicroPython is not the same thing as CircuitPython, which is not the same thing as like trying to run an Arduino environment on it. And too much hardware is too much software. There's no like everybody's doing things this way. And so there's just not the uniform user base that you have on something like the Arduino or the Raspberry Pi. So I have avoided it at this point. Let's see, we've got Daniel. Well, thank you for the kind words, Daniel. Ian is been a new guy on our channel, and he is doing some great work. And Ian, great to have you. Mohammed, wow, thank you for the nice little hearts and flowers there. That's very kind. Mohammed is very active on the channel with a lot of comments. Mohammed Rafkul Islam Khan, that is quite a name there. That is quite a name there, and I'm sorry I didn't say it very well. And then we've got Mohammed Yunus. Will you, sir, when will you start the course? The course starts this Thursday. The course starts this Thursday at 6 p.m. Africa time. Okay, he wants me to say hello to Lewis. Lewis the gerbil. Okay, this is the first time I've ever been asked to give a shout out to a gerbil, but welcome, Lewis. Okay, welcome, Lewis. Okay, Joy, do you have any videos on the best way to run a state machine? Okay, state machine is a very interesting thing. I haven't done anything on it since college, but I might do something like that. I really love projects where we get back to the transistor level, where we're so close to the hardware without all the layers of software between us and the transistors. And like back in the day in college, I wrote in assembly language and binary, where you're sitting there and you're writing programs with zeros and ones, and you're sitting there with the transistors in front of you. That is really where the magic happens, and I kind of miss that. Okay, an IoT course. IoT, if I did it, I would probably do it on the what is the new Raspberry Pi, like the Raspberry Pi Nano, or I would do it with the new Arduino that seems to be kind of an IoT Arduino. I'll be honest with you, I got the Arduino kit, the Arduino IoT kit. Arduino sent it to me, but the problem is like the projects, it worked, it turned things on and off with a relay, but that relay couldn't do like line voltages. And so if I was going to do IoT, I would want like a plug that you plugged into the wall, and then you plugged your device into it, and then that plug, you didn't have to wire up something with 120, and you could then do your magic and by Wi-Fi talk to that plug and turn things on and off. And I think things like that are out there. But just when I looked at the Arduino kit, I didn't like it for the reason that it didn't have a relay that could turn on and off real things. You had to do just little pretend things, little play things. And then also it seemed to require you to sign up for their cloud subscription. And so everything was based on, subscribing to their service, which I don't like, because I know a lot of you guys, some of you guys are doing really well, and a whole lot of people all over the world don't have $10 a month or whatever to sign up for a subscription service. So that's why I stayed away from that. Will you replace the older Raspberry Pi? Yeah, this will be new, improved from what I did a long time ago. When will you start the Internet of Things course? I don't know, because up next is going to be this Raspberry Pi class. Then I will do, after I finish the Arduino and Fusion 360, after I finish the Arduino with Python class, then I will start the Fusion 360 with a 3D printer class, and then it would be after that I would do something like that. It's hard for me to produce more than 2 videos a week. I love it, and it's fun when I do 2 videos a week. If I do more than that, I start getting kind of like it's not so much fun anymore. Big differences between mechanical and electrical engineering, Daniel. Really big differences. Mechanical is, oh man, I just love electrical engineering. And people that think, oh, I love cars and hot rods and I love this, I want to be a mechanical engineer. You're going to do that and you're going to end up designing like one bolt on the car. It's not like a mechanical engineer designs the car. You would have one tiny little boring part of the car. So I don't like mechanical engineering. I like electrical engineering. Man, I got to watch a launch of the space shuttle from the NASA Control Center. I was in there at one of those desks with one of those screens helping them get the shuttle launched that day. I was able to go to all types of military installations all over the world, see the coolest hardware, meet the coolest people, and all of that was because I did electrical engineering. And that, I think, still is the greatest field that you could go into. Okay, let's see what other, man, you guys are getting ahead of me on all these questions. What's the difference between mechanical? Okay, I asked that. Is the relationship of the Arduino Uno R3 and the Nano the same as a, no, oh, wow, who was that? Man, Philippe, really appreciate that. That is great. And I'm gonna have electricity for quite a while here with that. I'll keep that generator running and really appreciate it. Really appreciate it, Philippe. Okay, so let's see. The Arduino Uno R3 and the Arduino Nano are exactly the same. They're just different sizes. Now, the Raspberry Pi and the Raspberry Pi Pico are really completely different, okay? And even the Raspberry Pi 4 and the Raspberry Pi Zero are different because there's a lot more limited resources on that smaller platform. Okay, Visionary Robotics, one of our regulars around here, welcome. Okay, Visionary Robotics is going for ME. Any engineering is a good field. Any engineering is a good field, Visionary, so don't get discouraged by my comments there. Where did you do your electrical engineering from? I was at University of Texas at Austin. And not to brag, but I graduated #1 in my class out of 500 engineers at the University of Texas. And then I went to Stanford and I got my master's degree in electrical engineering from Stanford. Okay. And that was, you go to Stanford and you get a pedigree and it makes you special, like, whoa, this guy's from Stanford. But where I really learned how to be an engineer and the success I had in my life was the stuff I learned at University of Texas. I think that was a great school. And sometimes these hoity-toity schools like Stanford, they give you the credentials, they give you the degree, but you really don't build a lot of practical skills there. I certainly would not say to go to Stanford or MIT as an undergraduate. Start at a good, solid state school, and then maybe go do a master's just to polish off, kind of polish off your resume, if that makes sense. Cool Beans playlist. Okay, yeah, that I should do that. I've got a Cool Beans thing to show you because I hope you guys are still. Yeah, we got a nice audience there. I got something really cool to show you to try to get you excited about the Raspberry Pi. And so what I did was with the kit I had yesterday, and I did this. You're not going to believe this. I did this in one day, but I just kind of looked through the kit and I thought, what's a little demonstration project that I could do that would kind of be interesting and sort of show the types of things that we're going to be doing. I can't stand this box being open. I have to have everything in the proper place and neat. Okay, there, proper place and neat. Okay, so I wanted to yesterday just put something together with parts from that kit so I could show you just how far we're going to be able to go. And so what I'm going to show you in a minute, I did in one day, okay, in one day. And I think that it is pretty darn exciting, but we'll see what you think. Okay, back behind me, you can see that we're starting to come to dawn over the headwaters of the mighty River Nile. You can see some lights there. I hear some boats out there, so there's some fishermen, but we don't have quite enough light to see the fishermen yet. But I just think it's kind of neat to get to watch the sunrise over the Nile as we sit and sip our coffee and chat about what we're doing on this channel. Okay, hello Snee, Daniel, what are your thoughts on Mechatronics? Well, Mechatronics is really good, especially if you have electrical engineering into Mechatronics. So you learn, you add a little mechanical stuff to your electrical engineering degree, and that is the way I would do mechatronics. Okay, I want to say you are a great teacher. Oh wow, thank you. And you have a little scripty username, which I can't read there, but it's a beautiful, kind of a beautiful script language. BBF, Cool Beans was awesome. Yeah. Maybe I'll start trying to do that. Maybe I'll start trying to do that again. I hope you think what I do today is cool. Maybe we'll say this is kind of cool. Okay, Muhammad Rafkul Islam Khan, one who understands fully one topic is easier to understand the others. Yeah, you're really right. And that's kind of also like, if you really want to be honest about engineering, engineering is about math, and it's about solving differential equations. Okay, so if you think of math, you start with like algebra, and then you go to trigonometry, and then after algebra and trigonometry, you go to calculus, and that's usually where you end up in high school. But then in college, the next step of calculus is differential equations. And that is what engineering is. You've got to look at something in the real world. You've got to know how to write and develop a differential equation for the system that you are looking at or working with. And then you've got to be able to solve the differential equations. Well, if I can solve differential equations by being an electrical engineer, you could give me a mechanical engineering problem and I could probably solve it, because I could probably go in and figure out how to set up the differential equation and how to solve it. So once you know differential equations, you can do almost anything. Okay, are you guys ready to see my cool project that I put together? Are you ready to see my cool project that I put together? Let's see. Okay, I'm waiting to see. Maria from Honduras, welcome. Jose, do you plan to do anything with the Raspberry Pi 64? No, probably not. Philippe wants to see it, and so if Philippe wants to see it, we're going to look at it. So let me see if I can switch over here. I'm going to need to get out of your way. We're going to have to come back to the river view here in a minute. You can see a tree kind of forming over the bottom logo. You can sort of start seeing the sky on the other side, but we'll have to come back to that. But for right now, we're going to look at my project, okay? Now, it is very risky doing projects live, okay? It is very, very risky doing projects live. But if you look at this, you can see my Raspberry Pi. You can see my Super Chat bell there that we've been acknowledging people with. And then you can kind of see a setup. So somebody tell me, can anybody guess what this little project does? Go ahead, let me know. Somebody tell me if you can guess what this project does. Okay. Yeah, Ian says hopefully it works, and I hope it works. You never know, though. You never know. Hopefully we'll get it working. Okay, it sees your finger. What? Okay, measures length, finger pointer, 5 fingers. Gesture recognition, motor, it moves the finger number, counts the bell ring. So, okay, count the bell ring is a pretty neat one. But I will say that the bell just happens to be sitting there. The bell isn't part of the project. But do you see how my little purple pad? Did you notice I kind of got the purple thing going here? I switched out my yellow pad for my purple pad. That's like the level of detail I think about on these things. But do you see how that's not perfectly square? We must make that perfectly square like that. Okay, so now we are actually going to try this thing and see if I can make this thing work. We're going to see if I can make this thing work. Okay, so I'm going to go like this. Is that neat? Boom! live on YouTube. I was able, okay, see, that's pretty powerful. And guys, this is a PC is not helping this at all. This is just your raw Raspberry Pi. And what you can see is I've got a camera on the Raspberry Pi here, and then I'm coming over to a servo. And so, okay, Daniel says it's cool. Philippe likes it. Okay. Ian likes it. Dale. Okay. Yeah, I think this is cool. Okay, so let's try it again. Let's see if I can really do this. Okay, so I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 4, 2, 5. Okay. I have one more secret one. Can anybody guess what the secret hand signal is? There's one more that I haven't put the label up there yet for. Okay, there's one more that I haven't put the label up there for yet. Anybody guess what it is? Okay, I know there's a 30-second delay, so I got to wait for you guys to answer. We're going to see if anybody can guess what the secret one that's not up there. Yeah, Daniel, you win. Okay, Daniel wins. There is the resist the metaverse. Let's see if we can get it. Yeah, there it goes. See, I can go 5, or I can go resist the metaverse. I want to get a hashtag going. Resist the metaverse. Resist the metaverse. Let's go back to 2. Okay, 4. Resist the metaverse. Okay, that's pretty fun. Hey, Vaughn, where have you been? Vaughn, we're going to need a tardy slip from you. Vaughn, of all people, I thought you would have been on time. Where have you been, Vaughn? Okay, resist the metaverse. Yeah, get a hashtag resist the metaverse. How about you start just by leaving a comment down below, not here on the chat because that kind of goes away, but down below in the comment after this thing is over, let's start putting resist the metaverse. That will be the theme of our channel, resist the metaverse. We were just talking earlier about how much time people waste on TikTok and that nonsense. And what I said is, on this channel, we are doers. We are not watchers. We are doers, okay? And so this project that I'm showing you here, this is the type of thing that we're going to do on this series of lessons, but I'm going to start at absolutely ground zero. I'm going to start at square one. And so in the first series of in the first lesson, what we're going to do is, the first lesson is, I'm just going to show you how to burn the SD card. I'm going to show you how to boot the Pi. And then I'm going to go in, I'm going to show you how to kind of configure the desktop where it's not quite as lame as what it usually boots up as. And man, it's like, I remember I had the Jetson Nano. And when you booted the Jetson Nano, and it's Linux, you boot the Jetson Nano, and it's got this beautiful splash screen. It's got this high contrast and crisp text, and oh, it is just beautiful. It is just beautiful. And you boot the Raspberry Pi, and it's very low contrast. It's like this sleepy desktop that's low contrast and got this strange sunset and all this stuff. And plus, it's very confusing. Like in some places, it calls that bottom strip that you start programs from the panel. In some places it calls it the menu, and you can change it in one place and it changes something else. And so the desktop is a little bit goofy on the Raspberry Pi. And so I'm going to take you through it. I'm going to show you how to kind of get your Raspberry Pi cleaned up and get a usable desktop, and then also understand how you can kind of get it configured. That's going to be in lesson 1. Lesson 2 is going to kind of be the essentials of Linux in one lesson. Okay, the essentials of Linux in one lesson. And so you're not going to be a Linux expert, but you're going to be able to find your way around the Linux terminal with that one lesson. Lesson number 3 will be the essentials of Python in one lesson. You won't be a Python expert, but you will kind of get the essentials. I know some of you guys are really far along in Python and Linux, but guys, this channel is about not leaving anyone behind. Okay, this channel is about not leaving anyone behind. So you guys that are experts, show a little mercy and grace, and let me have like 3 lessons to get everybody up to where they're at least functional on the Pi. And I hope you guys will tune into those lessons as well, and maybe you could help answer questions. Like, look at the oh wow, yeah, live. Thanks, man. Philippe, did you just do what I think you did? Wow, that is amazing. We're going to really recognize Philippe here. That is just absolutely amazing, because really it does help me, because, you know, like, let me show you guys. Can I show you my studio here? You want to see my studio? If I can get my mouse, I'll lose my mouse. I'll try to show my studio here. You know, this is my studio, and guys, living in Africa, everything that you see here, it like costs me twice as much to ship something as what the item costs. And so, like, if I buy a monitor for $500, I might spend $1,000 in getting it shipped over here. And you can see that I have like 5 monitors. Now you might ask, does anybody really need 5 monitors? Does anybody really need 5 monitors? And the answer is yes, I really need 6. Okay, I really need 6. So the thing is getting this equipment over here, and you can see this overhead camera that is allowing allowing me to do these types of shots. This is the big difference between like this series of lessons and those lessons that I did on the Arduino. I have a very high resolution camera to show you the builds and show you the overhead shots. And I also have the proper mounting hardware where I can really get it mounted properly. And then let's come back over to the studio view if I can. And also then I've got a professional Canon camera here. It's not like a SLR being used as a video camera. It's a real professional Canon video camera. If you looked up, I've got studio lights, and so also like the nice microphone and sound. This stuff really is needed to have, you know, high quality videos, you know, video production quality. But in order to do this, you know, I need help. And so I appreciate you guys who are helping me out. It helps me keep my studio up to date. It helps me get high quality videos. And then also it's just an encouragement to me. So really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. Okay, so that is the studio. You can kind of see there. Yeah, oops, you can see I'm wearing short pants. It's always warm here in Africa. I'm sitting here with my nice pressed dress shirt, and then you see that I'm wearing cargo pants. Okay. All right, so let's have a little more coffee. And now I am completely distracted. What was I talking about before Mr. Philippe was so generous? We were talking about these lessons. Okay. So you guys that are already experts at Linux and Python, watch the video, look in the comments, answer questions, help me get more people started. Okay, then what we are going to do is we are going to come in. It says your videos on setting up a studio for YouTube are quite helpful. Oh, okay, Brian. Yeah, I did a couple of videos on using open broadcast software, OBS, and you can go a long way with OBS. But now what I am doing is I am using Wirecast because there's just certain things Wirecast does that makes it easier. And you can see for me to teach, it's really hard for me to teach these classes because I'm having to think about a hard problem like writing a program or getting a circuit hooked up right. At the same time, I have to think, what are you seeing? What are you hearing? What is my view? What shot do I have? What's going on in the studio? So I have like a full-time brain job thinking about the studio while at the same time thinking about a hard problem that I'm trying to do, and at the same time thinking about teaching, how am I going to explain it? So it's like three really hard things that I have to do all at the same time. And therefore I went ahead and shelled out the money for the Wirecast, which really sort of makes that hard job a little bit easier. But for you guys, you home gamers that just want to kind of post your homework to YouTube, man, just look at my videos on OBS, and a couple of you guys, Xavier and BBF and Keith and some other guys have done some really nice videos, and you guys are starting to get some pretty good production quality going. What I also hope on the Arduino series, we've kind of started on the last couple of classes that I've taught, you guys post your solutions to my homework on YouTube, and I think that is just really cool, and I hope we'll do that on the Raspberry Pi. Even if it's just a webcam, or even if you just have like your phone camera and you sort of make a quick video of what your project's doing and then post it to YouTube. I think that's neat. I think you guys enjoy looking at each other's solution, and so that is pretty nice. Okay, so I've said first lesson is booting the Pi, second lesson is the essentials of Linux, third lesson is the essentials of Python, and then the fourth lesson is where the real magic starts happening, and we're going to start working with the GPIO pins. Okay, so we're going to start having the Raspberry Pi writing a Python program that will be interacting with the GPIO pins and things like the servo, things like the distance sensor, the various sensors and actuators that are in the kit. We're going to be going through those. Now, when I go through those, what I'm thinking is what I really want is I want you to learn math. If you already know math, we'll use the math you know. If you don't, learn the math. I want you to learn good engineering skills, not just watching me pound out a code, but I want you to learn to think like an engineer. Because it doesn't matter if you're a medical doctor or whatever you do, there's a way engineers think, and that thinking works really, really well. So like right now, I spend a lot of time with organic gardening. I'm trying to kind of get self-sufficient, like where most of the stuff that I'm eating, I'm growing myself. And organic gardening has nothing to do with electrical engineering, but when you think like an electrical engineer, you lay things out, you map things, you plan, you do things in a methodical, organized passion that makes anything successful. So what I want you guys to learn from these Raspberry Pi lessons is how to think like an engineer, if that makes sense. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to be going through and getting more and more sophisticated things that we connect to the GPIO pins, and then we're going to be getting more and more things that we're doing in the coding. So you're going to be building your math skills, build your hardware skills, build your software skills, and build your thinking all at the same time, if that makes sense. And on top of that, what I really, 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 really want to do is I really, really, really want to make this fun. Okay, we better check back in with the Nile cam, and you can see that it is a foggy morning out there, and I don't see my friend the fisherman. Maybe they've already dropped their nets, but maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see the fishermen before this thing is over. So I do really, really want to make the class fun, and I hope you guys will, get the kits, get the Raspberry Pi, and join in on this. Now, what I'm doing here in this lesson is really very, very sophisticated. So what I'm doing here, and what I just showed you with the gesture recognition, did that not? Okay, yeah. Let's see. 2, 3. Yep, it's still working. I should stop doing this while it's working and then we'll leave it here. Okay, I should really stop playing with it before it breaks. I don't want to push my luck with that thing because it's always hard to make things work on live videos like this. But what I want you guys to do is I want you to have a lot of fun with these lessons. I know that I'm going to have fun putting them together, and I hope that we can continue to sort of develop a sense of community around this channel. And one of the things is that people are nice on this channel. And I see so many forums, like you'll see someone will say, oh, well, how do I know what my blah, blah, blah in Linux is? And someone comes back and pops off, well, Google's your friend. Why don't you use that? And, in the breath and keystrokes that they could have just answered the guy's question, they come back with a really snarky, sarcastic remark. And there seems to be like a lot of anger out there. Like if you just look in the world, it seems like there's a lot of anger. What I like is people are nice here and people are encouraging. And one of the things I do is I moderate all the comments. So every single comment on my channel, which is hundreds and hundreds, I read everyone and I moderate it. And if anyone ever gets rude or short, I just don't publish the comment. And what that means is the comments that are here are nice and encouraging. The conversation is encouraging. And when you have a little seed of an encouraging group, what happens then? Nice people are drawn to it. So it's like we're building this really great community of people who are nice and nice to each other and helpful to each other, and not these angry people. It seems to be, is it just me, or is the world kind of full of angry people right now? Okay, I have not been looking at the comments, so let's just take a couple of minutes here and see if we can answer some comments. So I think Big Boggy Face was asking, is that OpenCV on the ARPi? Big Boggy Face, it is OpenCV and MediaPipe on the Raspberry Pi. And I just was amazed that was even possible. I was amazed that was even possible. And in the meantime, eventually I'll show you guys how to do it, but we're going to start with some pretty simple stuff. Yeah, Dan, why take time to be mean? I just don't understand it. I don't understand why people are so mean these days. And also kind of like we've gotten to a point that it's like, if I don't agree with you, I hate you. No, if I don't agree with you, it just means I don't agree with you. It doesn't mean I hate you, but somehow we can't have civil discourse because there's this kind of mainstream worldview or thought that's out there. And if you don't agree with it, then you're a hater or you're angry, or I'm not mad at anybody. It's just like, this guy over here, I don't agree with you. That doesn't mean I hate you. But it just seems like we've lost the ability to have civil discourse. And I miss that. And that's why I like this channel. You guys are nice to each other, and just go out of your way to encourage someone like a young kid, man. When a young kid posts a question in the comments, the way you respond to him might be the difference between him going into engineering and him just throwing stuff away and going a completely different path in life. And you would be surprised how big of a difference it can make just to be kind to someone, particularly someone young. And that's kind of what I think. I know a lot of you guys are ham guys out there, and there's some really, really nice ham guys out there. Some of the nicest guys in the world are ham guys. But then there's these like ham Nazis. And I'd taken a group of like 15 or 20 students and gotten them all the way up to extra license. That's the highest level of license you can have in ham radio. You know how many of them stuck with the field? 0. You know why? Because of the grumpy old ham guys that were always coming down hard on them because they might use a word like, say something that the ham guys didn't like. Well, you shouldn't say something like that on the radio, where they would just say just some slang term or something. And they were always getting hammered by these grumpy old ham Nazis. And so they just left the field. So if you look, the ham field is really a dying field. It is a dying field. And it's a dying field because of the grumpy guys that sort of ruined it for everyone else. I'm sorry if I offend someone with that. OpenCV and MediaPipe on our amazing. Yeah, that took a little research yesterday to get that one. Okay, yeah, like I said, the Fusion 360 and 3D printer class, and I'll announce the 3D printer fairly shortly, but that will start after my Arduino with Python classes are finished, okay? An autonomous vehicle, well, an autonomous vehicle would not really be part of the Raspberry Pi series. That would be more something like that little JetBot, that little Jetson Nano would probably be what we would do on something like that. But one of my less successful, oh wow, melanated moms, wow, you changed my life. Really? I went from not knowing how to plug in a Nano or knowing what an ID was. Now I'm helping develop team really? So melanated moms, are you saying that you actually learn things on this channel that you've been able to use in your career? That would be absolutely amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. Kevin, on this class, we're going to keep going until we run out of interesting stuff to do. So we might do like 50 lessons. I'm thinking we might do 50 lessons. And, kind of at some point, it's not, it's sort of like, okay, we've kind of, it's not fun and exciting anymore. And then we'll move on to a new one. But I think we could spend a year on this class. The one thing I didn't like very much, the series that I did on the Elegoo smart card, it's just that darn thing was so hard to get it to work right, and you couldn't make it drive straight. It was always like moving to the left or moving to the right. And then as the battery started going down, then turning it would do different because those wheels are spinning slower. And so kind of like from an engineering perspective, I didn't like it because everything was sort of like open loop, and you would calibrate it up. You would do the math, you would calibrate it up. But then as the battery drained, then everything behaved differently. And so I couldn't get things to operate as pristinely as I would like. So for me to do another robotics project, I would need to see a platform that really enabled you doing things such that it performed in a really good engineering sense. Okay, so let's see. I was wanting to see if Mom had answered the question if she was really doing something with this in her career. That would really be great. I did at one point have a guy that just said he was unemployed, took these classes, and he got a high-tech job. And so I was kind of surprised because I know that I'm teaching stuff like this sounds arrogant. Please just give me grace to say I'm not trying to be prideful, but I teach things better than universities do, okay? Because the university professor is not there to teach, he's there to research, and he just kind of has contempt for the students sometimes. That's not always the case, but I think I can really teach things. But the problem is if you just learn something on the internet, you don't get any credentials. I think it would be cool if employers started recognizing skills as opposed to credentials, and a guy could go out and get a cool job just based on watching YouTube videos. That would be my Melanated Mom says, yes, that is amazing. I'm doing Python scripting for, can you believe that? Congratulations, Melanated. I really appreciate the financial help. That means a lot, but even more, it just warms my heart that somebody actually was sort of able to improve their life based on these classes. That is really good. What transistor can I use with Arduino to drive a car, blower motor, 12 or 25 amps? Man, I can't just say something like that. 25 amps, you could kill an elephant with 25 amps. And so that you've got to really, really be careful when you're working with high currents like that. Okay. All right, let's see how we're doing. I'm thinking that, whoa, it is really foggy out there. You can see the two trees. You can barely see across the river, so we can't even see. We're not even able to see if we have any fishermen out there or not. Any fishermen out there or not. Okay, let's see here. We have about an hour. I like to make these no longer than an hour, and we have about 10 minutes. And so let me just see if I can just take 10 minutes and answer questions about the class, or answer questions about life in general, or answer questions about whatever you guys are interested in. Daniel says that he learned so much in Python in the first week. Okay, that is really great. And now I'm doing methods and classes. Yeah. And Daniel, the methods and classes is one of the hardest things to understand, and one of the things that's never taught and always explained poorly. And so I hope that I broke it down in a way that people could understand it, because that's like where people hit the wall in programming, is understanding classes and methods. And I hope the way I explained it actually was something that someone could understand. I had an electronic teacher in high school like you, and was awesome. I also had a great physics teacher in junior high. Yeah, actually, I think sometimes you get some high school teachers that are better than college professors, because they love kids and they love to teach. And, really to be a good teacher, you need three things. You need to be a subject matter expert, you need to love the subject, and you need to love the student. And if you have those three things, you're a great teacher. You don't need all the teacher training and all that sort of stuff. If you have those three things, you're going to be a great teacher. Okay, I don't have a Raspberry Pi. Well, Harsh Creatives, you're going to have to put those coins away. You're going to have to put those coins away and get yourself a Raspberry Pi, because this is going to be a class that you don't want to miss out on. Use a transistor to operate a relay. Yeah, when you start switching things, you really want to kind of think about doing a relay and not just a transistor. Okay, let's see. Much love from Kenya. Mohammed, Kenya. I love Kenya. One of the most beautiful places in Kenya is Kitale, and also Maralel, where the Samburu tribe are. The Samburu are a very primitive people that still live as goat herders, really don't have any concept of money. They don't, really, they just don't have any contact with the outside world. And I love the Samburu people. I was able to go visit with them once, and they're a very beautiful people. Yeah, they're hard to get a Raspberry Pi. That is true. When will you come to Mombasa? Really, Mombasa? I have never been to Mombasa, but travel right now is kind of hard with all of the, jab tickets and, certificates and testing and all that. So I'm probably not going to be getting on an airplane until travel kind of calms down a little bit. I don't go for all that nonsense. So I have not been traveling since they have been being silly about so many things. What is your secret for time management? Well, number one, save $10 a month and cancel Netflix. How do I manage time? Well, cancel Netflix. Number two, cancel TikTok. Number three, cancel Instagram. Number four, cancel Twitter. And I will allow you to keep Facebook on. Okay. In fact, if you guys want to follow me on Facebook, send a friend invite to Paul and Anna McWhorter, and you'll get to see a little bit more personally about things that I'm doing and what I'm going on my Facebook account. Paul and Anna McWhorter on Facebook. And okay, have Facebook just to keep up with your old friends, but don't spend more than 15 minutes a day on it. That's the first thing. Second thing is then throw out your Xbox and games and all of that stuff, and just focus on, I want to spend my time, the time that I have in my life, I want to spend it doing things, making things, growing things, fixing things, designing things, helping people, doing things. But you guys are just, so many people are just letting their life just fly by, doing nothing but watching professional sports, watching silly cat videos, doing silly things on social media. Get the trivial out of your life, and you will find that you have all kinds of stuff for the meaningful. And so, like right now, one of the things I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build a church in our neighborhood, because there's no really good church within walking distance. In the area that I live in is a slum, basically, that the people here live in, little frames with tin roofs and cardboard and that sort of stuff. So I live in the slum. There's no good church within walking distance. So I'm trying to kind of organize and put together a real church here. I also do a whole lot in organics, nut trees, fruit trees, growing my own food, establishing sustainable agricultural methods. And then I'm trying to take that and make it something that would be sustainable and income producing for poor people in this area. I then work at a church that's some 5 hours away from here. And so I spend quite a bit of time on the road back and forth going there to help them. That church has started probably 20 churches in the country that I'm in, and then I'm trying to help those. And so I do a lot of stuff. And then, I make all these videos, and I'm friends with you guys, and then I have other interests. And so I do a whole lot of stuff, and people say, well, how do you do all that? Well, I don't have Netflix and professional sports and all the trivial things. And I'm very deliberate in the time that I have. I want to do things that make a difference, like making videos here. Does that make sense? Hopefully that doesn't sound like I'm tooting my own horn. There was just a question of what's the secret to time management? Well, don't do silly things is the biggest one. Would you do a class on self-balancing robot? I would love to do that, but what I need is I need a good kit. If there was a good kit that had all the parts, and then I could say, you guys order this kit and then we'll build it together. That's the first thing. And then the second thing, it would have to be something that wasn't like, okay, let's just go to GitHub and download all the software and then our little robot does its thing. No, it'd have to be something where we went in and understood the math and we did the coding and we got the thing kind of working. That would be the requirement. But I will say self-balancing robot is the thing that I have always wanted to do. How much is the kit? Are there any other brilliant components? Let's see. I am going to see if I can see what the kit is. I don't know if I have it called up here. Let me see. Okay, it looks like it is about $60. There's a cheaper one that's about $45, but the problem is some of the really cool things you want in the more expensive kit. So it looks like it's going to be about $60 for the kit. Okay. And let's see, can we use the same sensors and actuators of Arduino with the Raspberry? That is hard to answer, and the answer is maybe, but you got to be really careful because the Raspberry Pi is 3.3 volts and the Arduino is 5 volts, and not everything is both 3 and 5 volt compatible. And so if you just go around plugging things from one to the other, you could get into trouble because they're not on the same, the same logic levels. They don't operate on the same logic levels. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, we had a comment here. Oh wow, I lost where I was. Will I be using the new Pi 5? I don't have a Pi 5 yet. Okay, I don't have a Pi 5 yet, and I don't know when I will. And so everything I'm going to be doing is going to be based on the Pi 4, if that makes sense. Do you find being a teacher more satisfying than when you were a practicing engineer? Well, I had so many wonderful things as a practicing engineer. I got to meet famous people, go famous places, do great things. And so it was a lot of fun. And it's like a lot of fun, great career. But I will say I have a greater sense of accomplishment as a teacher. Like I am making a bigger difference as a teacher than I did as a practicing engineer. Okay, then much love from Toronto. Oh, Joseph, thank you. That's so nice. But keep the Kinect. It's a 3D camera. Okay, I don't have. Yeah. Okay, you're saying off of the Xbox. Yeah. Play with the Kinect, program the Kinect. That would be a good thing to do. I hope I have a Pi 4 laying around. Yeah, they are. It's people are price gouging. And so, hey, David purchased the kit. Good deal, David. We already got people getting the kit. You know, it's just always when I do these things, I hope people take the class, because the worst thing is for me to make lessons that no one are interested in. I kind of did that. I did a series on the Beagle Bone Black once, and that one just fell completely flat. Nobody was interested in the Beagle Bone Black, so that was not good. What are the steps to learn any microcontroller in a nice way? That is too hard for me to answer. I think the Arduino is a great place to start. And then I think it would be cool to go down a level lower where you're kind of working in assembly, and that is really fun. Yes, to organics, permaculture, growing your own food. Yeah, I think it would be a great goal if everyone just said most of what I eat, like, first of all, what if you said, I'm not going to eat anything out of a plastic package or a cardboard box? Do you realize how much healthier you would be if you just said, oops, it's in a cardboard box, I'm not going to eat it? Go into the grocery store, go around the outside where you're getting, you know, vegetables and you're getting fruits, and then you get some meat. Okay, you can buy your milk in a carton, but just do that and stay away from the cans and the packages and the candies in the center, and you would be surprised how far you could go there. Then the second goal would be, what if most of what I ate came within 5 miles of where I live? I think that would be another great goal. Okay, how's your avocado tree? My avocado tree, I have one avocado tree that is big in producing, and then I have like 6 or 7 others that I'm trying to get established. But the avocados are kind of hard exactly where I am, because the clay is very hard. The soil is very hard clay, and the mango trees love that, but the avocado wants a little more air on the roots, and so I'm having to replant a lot of my avocado trees, trying to get more organics in the soil. You asked and I answered it. Carl, thank you. Is there some way to get someone to make a kit that can be used for your class? That's what my dream is. My dream is one day I design not a Raspberry Pi or an Arduino or a whatever kit, but just more of like a STEM kit. And then we go through and we learn engineering through a STEM kit. I would love to be able to do that someday. What kind of degree do you have? Bachelor's in electrical engineering from University of Texas, master's from Stanford in electrical engineering, with an emphasis on solid-state physics, if I may add that. Warren's, can you plug into your TV if you have a USB and HDMI cable? Hi from Mississippi. Hi, John. Will there be an assembly language tutorial someday, but not in the immediate future? They are at the binary counter. Thank you. Thank you, Master. Okay, your videos help me learning Arduino. That's good. Paul, try beehive. We are trying to raise bees. Okay, guys. I live in Africa, and the bees here are a tad bit aggressive. And so as a child, I had beehives and I raised bees, but I just want to kind of avoid it here, because African bees tend to be a little bit jumpy, if you know what I mean. But I am doing all types of sort of homesteading types of things here. It's just the bees are not part of it. I wish your classes, yeah. And on me putting together a STEM kit, I don't want to do it. I want to work with a manufacturer, and I design the kit be associated with my name, and then I teach the class for the kit. But I can't be putting things in a box and ship, because, you know, living in Africa, that would not work. Okay, Lee. Appreciate you tuning in. It looks like we are probably getting to that hour mark, and so I kind of think that I need to be wrapping this thing up. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun today. I really had a lot of fun with you guys. If you're interested, let me know, and we'll try to do more of these live streams. It's been a little while since I've done one, but if you guys enjoy them, we'll try to do them a little bit more. And just really appreciate you guys. It means a lot to me that you'll come and watch these videos. But I'm going to wrap it up now. Guys, if you like this, give a thumbs up. Make sure that you leave a comment in the video below, hashtag resist the metaverse, okay? And make sure that you guys are getting your gear put together, and tune in not only Tuesday for the Python Arduino class, but also Thursday for the Bodacious new Raspberry Pi class. Paul McWhorter from TopTechBoy.com. I will talk to you guys later.